Welcome to the Voice of Oneness, your call to awaken. This show is your call to awaken to the truth of your being through the teachings of the Voice of Oneness, spoken by Aumara. On this show, you will receive spiritual guidance and the teachings of oneness from the heart of spirit directly to your heart, along with the tools and techniques to apply these teachings to your day-to-day life. Tuning in each week, you will grow in a deeper, richer understanding of your true nature as teachings are offered about universal spiritual laws that govern our lives. You will learn the right use and application of these laws to achieve the richest life from the perspective of experiencing abundance in all areas of your life. Aumara is a renowned psychic, spiritual teacher, coach, energy healer, mystic, and gifted visionary who taps into the higher realms to join with the vast collective of source energy. Now, your host of Voice of Oneness, Aumara Bonet.
Evening and welcome, friends, to the Voice of Oneness, your call to awaken. I'm your host, Aumara Bonet, and I am so grateful that you've joined me here on this podcast and answering your call to awaken. We have a great show tonight. Tonight, we're going to interview Todd Bates, and I'll talk more about Todd in a moment. But first, I want to get to some news here at WLTK-DB Talk Radio. We now have a downloadable calendar, and you can get this calendar. You can download it on our website, the homepage at www.WLTK-DB.com. Not only does it add the schedule of all the live shows to your calendar, but also includes a link just to click on and boom, you're on. So it is an amazing feature. If you haven't already downloaded it, I suggest you do so. It's a great tool. So now let's talk about Todd. Todd currently is the owner and producer here of WLTK-DB Radio. And I'm his bio. Chances are you would have found him in a mysterious abandoned home, walls yellowed by age and doors teetering precariously on their hinges. Maybe a murder occurred, or perhaps a fire. Whatever the case, Todd Bates was on the scene for a solid task, listening for the voices of the dead. Now retired from the field, Todd takes his knowledge gained and shares it with his amazing audience on his radio show, Haunted Voices. Todd's passion is and forever will be EVP, electronic voice phenomenon, commonly referred to as EVP. Are spirit voices captured on digital or analog recording devices that was not heard with the naked ear. For Todd, collecting this specialized evidence of paranormal origin is a life calling. After years of personally investigating the mysteries of EVP and studying under pioneering figures in the field, Sarah Stapp and Jason Snyder, he took his passion to the internet. Now, in its 18th year, Haunted Voices has quickly grown to be one of the oldest paranormal talk shows on the internet today. Todd Bates now owns and operates WLTK-DB Talk Radio, a paranormal talk digital radio station, and broadcasts live and original programming to its ever-growing audience of like-minded people. Todd is also an author. He's the author of The Haunted Voice, an autobiography about his life, how he became involved with the paranormal, his battle with alcoholism, and more. And we will be discussing that tonight. He also has television. Currently, Todd is the narrator for the Ghost Finders, past advisor for A Haunting on the Discovery Channel, Sally's House episode, WTHI-TV, CBS affiliate, The Ashmore Experiment, two-day event, appeared on WTWO, NBC affiliate. He's a school graduate of broadcasting with 17 years of broadcasting experience. He enjoys discussing all things paranormal with his guests and audience. He was offered a co-host spot with Dr. Jimmy Lowry of Alabama Para Spiritual Radio. He was then given the opportunity to host his own live show on the BBS radio network, where he discussed all topics paranormal. He has since appeared on the Man Cow Show, WTAY-FM, WTYE-AM, Crawford County, Illinois, WZPL 99.5 Indianapolis, X Zone Radio, Voice of America, and The Jeff Rentz Show. I hope I pronounced that right. Each has a valuable experience to share, his vast knowledge of the paranormal. So tonight, I'm excited to interview Todd, having read his book, his autobiography, The Haunted Voices. And to me, this is a book of the hero's journey. It's such a powerful read that I would highly recommend it to everyone to read this book, this story of the hero's journey. And I'm going to let Todd just talk a bit more about that in a moment here. So let's welcome Todd in now. Come on in, Todd.
Hi, Aumara. How are you?
Good. How are you?
On the tail end of the flu, but hanging in there. It's going around and but doing fantastic.
Yeah.
Feeling a lot better.
That's good. That's good. Well, having read your book, Haunted Voices, and I did say just a moment ago that it is to me, as a spiritual teacher, that is the exemplary hero's journey. That is an amazing journey through the course of your life with extreme highs and crashes, really extreme lows, and continuous triumph over these adversities, and coming out transformed and still today with an open, loving heart. Kudos to you. Amazing journey. It had tears, I will say. There were parts of it I cried. I got choked. I'm like, oh, what's going to happen next? It's a great, I love the way you wrote the book. It's beautiful. So let's dive right in. What helped you to make the decision to write an autobiography, talk about your life experiences? I mean, they are powerful.
Thank you. Sure. It started, I've been carrying around a lot of baggage with me for so long. And being bipolar, I talk to therapists, I talk to a psychiatrist and things, and sure, they help. But these things that I had inside, they needed to come out, and I couldn't find any way to express them. So one day sat down and worked with someone, asked some questions. Hey, how do you do this? How does this happen? And then he said, just write. And I said, okay. So I sat down and started, which was the hardest part, was opening up that memory, that past, my past, and letting it flow. Well, everything started just flowing, and I couldn't control it. I'm writing on my desktop. The next thing you know, I'm sitting somewhere on the laptop, and no one knows, Aumara. No one knows. I told no one I was writing a book. I had this hidden. It was something, if I had released it, then I would feel the anxiety from it, then I would not do it. So I just did it. I sat down, hunkered down, and didn't say anything until it was complete. It was about a year process, getting it all formatted, getting everything correct, getting everything right. And then it came down to the day of release. It was October of last year. Came down to the day of release, and I'm like, okay, Todd, if this happens, the whole world is going to know what you
Yeah.
did, who you are, everything about
Yeah.
you, all of these
Yeah.
secrets that most people keep to themselves. They're going to know everything. How do you feel about that? And then I literally smiled, and I still do when I think about it. And I'm okay with it, because all of that is who I am. It makes amends with those who need to have amends made, that I have burned bridges with in the past, uh, trying to balance my karma, all kinds of things throughout that book, that poured out. And it was such a release. There was lots of tears. There's a lot in there about my alcoholism, for example, and what led me down that path to it. Um, the stress from working this field, and there's so many facets in there about my life. And I welcome anybody to it's a quick read.
It's a read that you need to take, because it is truly the hero's journey. And
I, I
and as you're going through that, and we talk about alcoholism, we know it's an addiction. Yeah, and but you went through, and you talked about how you went through, and you went into rehab, and you triumphed over it the first, and it came back again, and you had to go through it again, and you talked about going through it again. And the second time you made it through, and you said something very specific in the second time. What was the difference between the first and the second experience? Do you recall?
The first and the second experience of, want to
Going
make sure I
through
get
rehab.
okay. The
Why did it
first
work the second
experience,
time?
that's a fantastic question, is why.
Mm-hmm.
And being an alcoholic, there is one thing I've learned, with rehabilitation aside, with 12-step program aside. If that moment hits my brain, there's nothing that's going to stop me except myself from doing it the next time. And this is where I started waking up and maturing. I'm going to say maturing, definitely
Mm-hmm.
maturing
Mm-hmm.
over the years. Because this is something that greatly impacted my life. Alcoholism did. And the differences are immense. The first I was completely broken down as a human being, broken down, and then completely rebuilt and reboot. I felt refreshed. The colors were more vivid, more bright. Everything was popping. And that's when I knew I was realigned. I was, back in my groove. Everything was going fantastic. Uh, there was an incident with my second one. I knew I was nearly killed in that car accident. Um, I should have been dead. They told my family that I was dead. Uh, so that impact wakes you up inside in a way. It shakes it shakes at your core, but yet there's still
And
that
there.
constant desire. There's still that constant, I have to live moment by moment. I have to live minute by minute sometimes. Stay in the present. And those are the differences, is each one that I experienced, each battle that I had with alcohol, it got me closer and closer to the strength needed at the end. I'm stubborn. I had to hit my rock bottom, and some people do. But then I learned how to cry for help, and it's okay to do so. Ask for help. Always ask for help. There's always somebody to reach out to. And I didn't know that back then, Amara.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
pride, my pride got in the way, which I've tried my
Yeah.
best to swallow my pride, and it's hard because we have that human
It's part
condition,
of the journey.
that free will. I'm here.
Hmm. That's part of the journey is releasing that these obstacles, the pride. Let me let go of pride. And as you're moving through, you let go of no longer. And we use these words, and everybody's hearing them. What serves me? Well, this is what it means. No longer serves me. This pride that I had, no longer served me. I had to go beyond it, to go deeper, and then you did. And you mentioned about the second time in the rehab that when you came into it, you knew that you were doing it for you.
Yes. It's amazing how you brought that up. The first and foremost thing that I want to say is one must do this for themselves. The first time I feel, I was 95% complete, and I didn't do it for myself. I did it for my family. And that's a burden that I carry. And it's the second time was for myself. And I walked in there that time with my head held high, knowing that I was at exactly where I needed to be at that very moment. And that is when the presence itself, being present, being in a moment, that is where it struck me. It was my awakening, if you will.
Yeah.
This place welcomed me with open arms. It was an amazing facility. You would work. You would, you just don't sit on your butt all day at these places. You work.
Mhm.
You do your mental and your physical work.
Yeah.
And I needed that. I needed that structure because I'd
Hmm.
lost that structure and I had to restructure myself and reboot. So they yet again rebooted me. And each one of them helped me in a different way. One taught me how to release, the other taught me how to structure my life. So by releasing, I still hold in some emotions to when it comes to people, discussing them, talking about them. However, I will journal them. I will put
So
them
you
down.
don't hold them.
I
You
don't
let them
hold
out.
right. I let them
You
out.
learn not to hold them. You learn to get them out.
Mhm.
Moving the energy, that's getting it out on paper. That's moving that energy. Is that people don't realize that when it's energy. So we're thinking about someone, that's energy that's going out to them. We're releasing that into the field. And if we want to take something, we want to journal it, we want to release the energy from our own mind and put it onto the paper. And then we can see it, read it, and now we've got the motion, the transform. Now's where the transformation can take place. So
You
that's
you you
excellent.
mentioned a key word, reading it,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to recommend just a simple exercise for anybody out there. Write down your feelings on paper. It does release, but what brings the true release is reading that aloud to another person,
Yeah.
making it real, bringing it into this world. That's what helped me. That's what helped me.
Is that being totally vulnerable? Allowing yourself to be wide open?
It's tough,
It is
and
tough. Tough for anyone, yeah.
there's a lot of things that I've learned to have bounce off.
Mhm.
Some you'll take a left, you'll take a right, it just, it
Yeah.
varies,
Yeah.
but it's work, it's constant work, and it keeps me busy, and that's what I enjoy is keeping busy,
Mhm.
um, because that keeps me out of trouble, as I say.
Yeah.
And writing the book, it's it's touched a lot of people, it's helped a lot of people, and it's so humbling to hear that, and it completely
Mhm.
blows my mind. I
Oh, yeah.
never would have imagined that.
Yeah, the
Um,
lesson, look at that, when no matter how bad something looks, it doesn't have to remain there. You can hit bottom, but you can also climb back up,
yeah,
and that's the triumph. That's the hero journey.
I love
And
how you say that.
yeah, it is. When I was reading it, I'm going, oh my gosh, this is the hero's journey. You started on an adventure. You left your small town, and then you said you went and you moved and you started a family and you did different things. I'm not going to give all your details away, but that's
Oh,
the adventure. And then through that, then all of a sudden you're high up, and all of a sudden, boom, you fall hard. And that was the first lesson. And that had to do, if we look at the lesson of that had to do with trust. That had to do with a violation, feeling betrayed. That had to do with so many things of the human experience. And even in all that, you still triumphed over that because you didn't allow yourself to get hung up in it. You still continued the forward movement. You still did, and then you rebuilt after that in extreme difficulty from the experience that you had. You didn't stop. You didn't give up. You kept on moving forward, which is triumph over that human experience. And
thank
that
you.
was amazing, amazing. And when people read that or even listen to that, it's like, oh my gosh, here's someone. We all want to see who's able to do what, because if you can do it, then I can do it. We
Mm,
can.
yeah,
So you put that out there, like, look at this, look at my life's journey. My life's journey.
we're all human
And
beings, and
yeah.
then I want to say hi to Jessica real quick
Yes, Jessica. Yeah.
in the thing. She's a sweetheart. There's life's a journey, and this one, the way everything came together, uh, still to this day blows my mind. How all of this,
Mhm.
all of these pages that were in front of me were my life, and some of the darkest parts of it. Going to prison for
Mhm.
crying out loud, and spending some time in there. The things I learned in there
Mhm.
are were unbelievable. I read medical books in there. I since I used to work corrections. A fun fact: I used to work corrections, so the uh, the aspect of me being in freedom in there was different because I was specially trained on how to get out of certain situations. So they had to put me under lock and key. So I was in a cell, I write about it in there, in a cell for 24/7 with a camera on me constantly. And that really takes every ounce of life out of you.
Absolutely.
It's almost as
Absolutely.
if going into a room, and the door is locked. And there's times I'll still check the door to this day. The door is locked and you go to open it. You can't open it. No matter what you do, you can't open it. You're there. And
Mhm.
you are forced to be with yourself. And I changed. It changed me as an individual to the point where I had felt okay with myself. I was great with myself. I was alone a lot. I learned how to properly isolate myself ish. And that's when, uh, by isolating myself, I came back out and snapped.
Mhm.
I wasn't the same.
Mhm.
People, if they would have known me back then in 1999, I was a complete, mm-mm. You wouldn't give me the time of day, and so on. I was very straightforward. Um, just a rude person, rude individual, not fun to be around. But it changed me, and
Yeah.
when I had that break, I'm not going to call it a snap because that is drastic. it was a moment where I think I rebooted.
Mm-hmm.
My circuits were shut off, and now I try to I'm trying to analyze it, and that's how I felt.
Mm-hmm.
I was rebooted, but
Mm-hmm.
it took me a while. I'm an introvert. I'm a shy guy. Believe
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people don't understand that. Don't believe that. Yeah, I'm very shy. Um, what stopped me from it were the emotions like that, and I couldn't readapt to society. I had to have someone come over my house and get me and take me to a restaurant and slowly reintroduce me to people, um, because I couldn't function. And to this day, I still can't go into a crowded supermarket somewhere or whatever. I'll kind of hide behind Sherry a little bit and it just
Yeah, because it triggers a little bit. There's some
Mhm,
residue there.
mhm.
There's residue there,
Yeah,
but
I get a little cranky
huge
sometimes.
chunk you've obliterated already. I could tell you that. So you've come through, and the fact that even to be that extreme, because you got to read the book to know what went on, but to be that extreme and have to have somebody come into the house and take you out, your willingness to participate was your strength and your courage and your determination. It was the will, the harnessing. We call it the harnessing of the will. I will this to be, and therefore I'm not going to be stuck in the house. I'm going to engage with life. So this is all part of that journey, and you came through it, with in beautiful ways,
Thank
So
you.
yeah, it's just I was reading. I'll tell you, it did bring me to tears. But that anybody who triumphs, the human spirit triumphing will always bring me to tears. It just hits my heart, being that highly empathic individual, it just hits my heart. And I understand that about the introvert, because everybody always thinks I'm an extrovert, and I'm not. I'm an introvert, and I love
Yeah.
nothing more than my time by myself. And if I'm around a whole bunch of people, it can only be for a limited time, and then I just have to find my corner somewhere and retreat.
Yeah.
And that's just who I am. That's just who I am. That's who we are as introverts. We can still be doing talk shows and doing the
Sure.
things we need to do, but we also need our time alone, and we are very much in our heads. That's where we
Yes.
live. We live in the mind.
You live in the mind, and sometimes it's hard to get back out of there,
It
but
is. It
we
is.
always seem to make it.
We do, and you've met every challenge thus far, and really excelled,
Thank
so
you.
really, really great. So now let's talk about the paranormal part and
Okay.
the EVP, because I have some experiences with that I'll interject as you're explaining. But you say you're very passionate about, and will always be
Mhm.
about EVP. So what
Yeah.
is EVP, and why does it capture you like it has?
Yeah, electronic voice phenomenon. It's I it's a disembodied voice.
Mm.
Um, I still use analog myself and digital, but for example, it's captured on a cassette recorder. You ask a question, you receive an answer back.
Mhm.
Um, there's been several that I've captured over the years that just still blow me away. But why the obsession is it started with a ghost tour years ago because I was
Uh-huh.
skeptic. I didn't believe in ghosts. Totally
Uh-huh.
skeptic. Like, are you kidding me? There's no ghosts. There's no such thing as that. It's like on the movies.
Yeah.
And I went on this tour, and the most amazing thing happened. The tour separated me from the tour. So everybody on the tour went to this little tiny general store. I went back to this old barn and sat on top of a wood pile, put my recorder down, had my microphone on a log, and I just sat there and started asking questions because I
And
talked
this
to
was your first time? Your
Mhm.
first time
Yeah,
on a
yeah,
Oh,
because I
wow.
talked to the guy that ran the tour, and
Oh, okay.
he told me to
Okay.
pick up a cassette recorder.
Yeah.
Jason Snyder told me to pick up
Mhm.
a cassette recorder and bring it along. Um,
Mm.
So sitting there, I'm just asking random questions. What's your name? Where are you from? Is there anybody here? And I didn't hear anything. Nothing happened. I didn't see anything. Well, he had taught me how to transfer the cassette recorder audio to the computer to analyze it. So I went home and I'd done that, rewound the tape, hit play, did what I had to do, and it's playing and nothing and nothing. And then this horse, of all things, a horse. It was a very clear, and you heard two stomps, and it was unmistakable. I'm like, that was a horse. There's no horses around there. It was a completely quiet location. There's nothing going on. What in the world? And why didn't I hear this? And that is what got me right there. Why didn't I hear this? So I started researching all I could online. Back then there was hardly anything. You had the AAEVP, the American Association of Electronic Voice Phenomenon. You had a couple other spots, forums, chat rooms, and things. But email, that's where I found Sarah. Sarah Estep is who basically brought electronic voice phenomenon to the States and taught others how to do it. And she took me under her wing a little bit, taught me quite a bit about it, about just the whole mechanics of the whole thing and how it may work and how they may imprint themselves. Her theories were amazing. That's what got me obsessed, was the why. And it still does. Why can't I hear it? So I was out in the field doing investigations like crazy for years and years, and researched it and found no absolutes. So I was wondering, are we supposed to really know? Are they going to tell us any answers? And I don't feel we are supposed to know. I think each one of us have personal experiences. Some may experience something and the person right next to them doesn't experience anything at all because it wasn't meant for them, I feel. The EVP, the communication of all that, is what got me further obsessed into it, is communicating with the other side, because I would ask a question, then I would get a response, and it was incredible. It's like they can hear us, we can hear them, kind of. They're very weak. Some come through rather strong, but for the most part, they're quiet and non-bothersome. Other parts, they tell you to literally get out. So that's the whole point of electronic voice phenomenon, is to have that delayed conversation with the other side, because I don't have any kind of special abilities. I mean, I feel everybody has the abilities. Let's just say I think I choose to shut mine off because I have enough going on up there.
Enough going on, and it came to you in the way it had to come to you. It came to you through the experience you had in the barn, because that made sense to you. That was what you needed. If I had that same experience, it might not have touched me the same way it touched you. But then I am able to hear, and I have different things going on all the time. But I will say that I have had two experiences. Now, I don't know if they qualify for EVP or not, but one was I was with some friends and we were out in Sedona, way off the trails. We took a Jeep out ourselves. A friend had a Jeep, and we went out, and she liked to go to these, what she felt were haunted, or, places where they're alien craft. And
Right.
we were out, and there was nothing out there. I mean, nothing. There's no homes. There's nothing. And there's this big bright light that we see in the distance. So she drives up a little close to it, and it's there. And we're all going, oh, what could that be? What could that be? What could that be? And it became a little brighter and kind of like pulsing. And then it started to come towards us. So when it started to come towards us, then a few of us are like, no, we're out of here. Thanks.
Yes. Gotta go.
Gotta go. And my friends didn't know it, but through her phone, the voice came through her phone. And it was like a laughing, like a ho ho ho, and then it had some sounds and different voice, things that we couldn't recognize. It wasn't English, you know.
Whoa.
So it went on for quite a while, and we were able to distinguish, like you were with the horse. We were able to distinguish the laughter, but beyond that, so I don't know who that was or what that was about, but is that qualify for like
That
EVP?
qualifies, that you had an experience, all
It
right.
was an
That
experience. Now, she sent it, my friend who had it on her phone, she sent it off to someone and she never got a response. But we were trying to find out how to decipher what went on. We didn't know to put it on the computer because it was recorded on her phone. It came right through her phone.
Mhm.
And it kind of freaked us out at the time. But we never did find out any answers with that one. And then there was another one. I was driving with a friend. I'm born and raised in Long Island, New York. So we were driving way out east, and there's not a whole lot of people out there at that time. So it was a dark night and, dark, lonely road, and I'm driving down the road by myself. And I'm thinking, oh, what time is it? And then all of a sudden through my radio is time. Did you mention time? And I'm like, oh my God.
That's
So I don't know.
insane.
Does that qualify as
Yes.
CBT?
Those are things that spirits have been known to manipulate, of course,
Yeah. Yeah.
electronics, and there's a lot of work, and it's neat coming back into the field because I'm retired now, and I talk to a lot of researchers that some are pro old school, some are all new school, so it's a nice variety mix. Everybody's out there trying
Yeah.
to communicate, which is good.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of this field anyway,
Mhm.
which I think, and I'd like to real quick explain what I feel about the paranormal.
Yeah.
Um,
Do
I
you wanna
feel
take a station break first and then come back and
sure,
start up with that? Because I'm
sure.
just looking, we're at, half past.
Oh, we're late, aren't we?
I think we'll be okay. You're the
Yeah,
boss.
we'll be okay. We'll be okay.
Okay.
The body code is a revolutionary method of energetic healing developed by Dr. Bradley Nelson, which allows us to quickly and easily identify specific imbalances that seem to underline chronic ill health, acute and chronic pain, and discomfort, dysfunction, and stress. Ellie energetically connects with the subconscious of the client. Psychic medium Ellie Weisensell is a medical intuitive and energy healer, and a certified body code practitioner. She identifies and clears energetic imbalances within the body and energy field. Contact Ellie at the website below, and Ellie can work remotely from a distance, by phone, online, video chat. There's no need to travel to an office. Remember, the body code is safe for humans and animals. Contact Ellie today.
All right, welcome back. On WLTK-DB Radio, we are interviewing Todd Bates, and Todd is just about to tell us some of his experiences in the
Well,
paranormal. Or
and
would you want to
first,
start
thanks
with?
again for having me on here. This has been an amazing
My
experience so far.
pleasure.
Thank you so much. I feel so comfortable with you.
Thank you.
Um, the paranormal to me is all encompassing. I know a
Mm.
lot of people hear the word paranormal and immediately think ghost, the stereotype. I think
Yes, yeah,
paranormal just means it's not of the norm.
yeah.
It's not normal. Um, that's why I did what I did with the station, is to bring the whole community together. Um, all the facets of it, the metaphysical, the ghosts and hauntings, the true crime, all of the good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And, I wanted a place, and I thought about doing this for so long, because I struggle myself running a show and producing a show, engineering the show. It can be tough doing all the technical stuff and everything. So that's where that came about. It just kind of popped in. Okay, you enjoy doing this kind of work, and I'm nerdy like that, Aumara. I like technical gadgets and stuff like that. So it just dawned on me one day. Okay, let's give it a try. We'll prepare a few things, get the station call letters, get all that registered and all that legal like and fun. What are we going to call it? And to this day, I kick myself in the rear. The call letter to the station, I said, well, it's a station. We're not a network. A network houses other shows and things. So it's not a network. It's a station. We do live and original shows. We're not a bounce house. So with it, putting it together, that's a big undertaking, going from nothing, that I thought I was nothing, to being completely isolated and alone, to now wanting to really open myself to the public and open this station and make something like this. That was a big step for me. That was a really big step for me. And it was one I'm glad I took, because it pushed me way out of my comfort zone. I mean, I was in my element. Sure, I loved all the technical things, but it's changed. It changes constantly. It's ever changing. And it was it was like, okay, Todd, you're going to need some help. This is overwhelming. Remember your cry for help. If you need it, ask. So, all these things, and that eased me. And then something just came over me. I don't know what it was, but it was just this peaceful, yeah, kind of feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when January of 2020, that's when WLTK-DB was born. And it has snowballed ever since. We have got some amazing shows on here. I have met some fantastic people, and I get the front row seat. That's what I love about it. To every show, I get a front row seat, and I've learned so much from the shows. They've taught me so much guidance, breathing techniques, you name it, all the way down to what equipment is good to use and what isn't. There's something for everybody, and I wanted that. And bringing on some help. Stephanie does an amazing job with the events. Mike does an amazing job helping producing in the back. I never thought this to be possible, Aumara.
So you just started it and let it evolve. You just knew you had the vision and you'd start it. And then it started to snowball. It started to take off. So this is a great thing for the listeners to know, that this applies to everyone. Everyone. All we need to do is start. Take the first steps. And then it starts.
Which is the hardest.
Yes, the first steps are the hardest, just like writing the book and putting it out there. But that was part of your destiny. That's part of what you needed to do. That was part of your journey. And that brings you to the platform that you have created today. This
It's amazing.
live talk radio station that's continuing to grow.
It's very humbling and mind-blowing.
Absolutely. But it's your baby.
It's our baby now.
Yes. But this is how you came out from your journey. This is where you arrived, like, oh, boom, now I can come out. Now I can come out. And I'm going to come out and I'm going to bring others with me. Everybody's coming out.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Beautiful thing.
Yeah. It's, Sherry makes me think like I'm and it like a late bloomer, a late flower that's finally blooming. That's how she makes me feel, is I'm finally blooming
Absolutely blooming.
out of myself. And that's hard to do, to really self-identify your inner issues and to deal with your baggage, and there's so many different ways you can deal with it. I I have to keep busy. So I built a station to bring me out of my comfort zone. Someone else could write a magazine article, write an article, write a blog, put it down, document it. It's I wish I would have done that more sooner, because I think I would have steered a few things differently, but it wouldn't make me who I am today.
That's right.
I had to learn that lesson.
Yeah, everything in its time. Everything in its time. And then that's what happens when we want to step out. We start looking at the bigger picture and we want everything all at once. And it's good to have the big picture in view, but it's to say, okay, now I have to take the journey there.
Yes.
And I have to allow and accept, as it unfolds, that blooming. I have to let the bud bloom. Holding in mind the picture of the full bloom, but knowing that it's one petal at a time.
One petal at a time. Well said.
And that's one of the greatest lessons that we have in the human form too, is patience. Patience. We have to learn patience. And that's why we have karma. That's why we come back lifetime after lifetime, is to learn all that we need, so that we eventually have freed ourselves from these limitations and we are ready to return to oneness. Once we have patience, once we've made it through the hero's journey, then we're ready, because we're no longer holding that obstacle as a barrier to growth. Prior to that, we hold it, and we kind of know within us, each and every one of us knows when it's time to let go and when it's not, when we still need to hold on a little bit longer.
Yep.
And even it's through the pain, but it still we need to get the most out of it. So we need to hold on a little bit longer. We need to know that that's okay.
Yeah.
And just
Everyone
know
has
that
their unique time.
Yeah, the unique time. It's all in the divine timing, and just allow it. Don't resist it. Just allow it. Allow it to be. Allow it to be. And that's a great thing. So through this, you've been broadcasting from your bio 17 years. You've been doing broadcasting from when you were a graduate from broadcasting school.
Yeah, I started doing radio with Jimmy back in 2003, and 2003, 2004 started my own show, Haunted Voices, in 2004. That came about real quick. The EVP, the electronic voice phenomenon. I was teaching lessons in a chat room and needed to reach some more people. They didn't have a lot of these audio servers and things back then. Found one and broadcasted to all kinds of people these lessons. And then people wanted to come on the show to talk. So it just became a talk show. And then it just kind of snowballed into this whole bunch. Instead of just teaching EVP lessons, it became talking about everything paranormal, metaphysical, of course, ghosts, aliens, you name it, down to the little gnome, as the intro says, right down to the little gnome. We talk about it all on the show. And it's evolved like that over the years. And it's amazing seeing all the podcasts that are out there now. When Haunted Voices started in 2004, there was several podcasts. There was W Paranormal, there was Ghostly Talk, there were some great, amazing shows. And there's talks that one may be popping back. But to see it evolve over the years to where now everyone has a podcast and it's so easy. And I think it's phenomenal because it just brings people together and you have all of this free information out there now.
Yes.
It's at your
Yeah.
fingertips. You
Yeah.
literally just have to a quick search. So that's in a nutshell how Haunted Voices came about. And we're still going. We're still going.
Are you the longest running
One
paranormal podcast, or one of
one
the
of the longest
longest?
running. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Wow. Wow.
One of the
Wow.
longest running. And
Wow.
it just went video last year. I've been all audio for years and just recently went to video. The station was all audio when it first started, and it just
Mm.
recently went to video. That's what people want.
Yeah, that's another stretch.
Yeah, that's a
That's
big
a
stretch.
stretch. Yeah.
That was night
Yes.
and day.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
kinda I remember my first show on video, I was just kinda like, "Hey."
Hey.
Because I couldn't hide behind this anymore.
Right.
You know, you
Right.
have to come
Right.
out. You have to look someone in the eye when you're talking to them. It's
Mhm.
good. It's good
Mhm.
practice.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, and to be out there and allow yourself to be seen, to put a face behind the voice, you know?
It's
Yeah.
fun.
It is fun. It is absolutely. Yeah. And
Yeah, I get a lot of, "Oh, I knew you were bald."
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. It is a
It's a
lot of fun.
choice.
Yeah. It is a choice. It is a choice. But it provides a platform for us to connect in ways of which we would not be able to,
I
and it's all
agree.
about community and connection at this time. Everybody's opening up and wanting to connect, wanting to connect with others of like mind, or wanting to connect with information, wanting to join in a community, and that's kind of where we're at, in our world at this time. And it provides a resource for people to become grounded and to feel that they're part of a community, and that's such a beautiful thing, you know,
Being
such a
a part
beautiful
of
thing.
something is very good, and feeling a
Mhm.
part of something feels very good.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
and I like the community. I love where it's going. Sure, there's some hiccups. There's some things that I don't agree with, but what are you gonna do? You know, what are you gonna do? It's people have to try and they have to learn. They have to learn from their own mistakes.
Mhm.
Uh, just try and guide them a little bit. And I see a lot of that. I see a lot of people, more people coming together and sharing a little more, talking a little more, because it's not as taboo as what it used to be. It used to
Yeah.
be, ooh, really hush hush. So it's good
Yeah.
that people are talking about it. The podcasts
Mhm.
help. Um,
Mhm. Yeah,
it
it's more
just gets,
mainstream.
yeah, makes it more mainstream.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, more mainstream, and this is part of our journey, is getting this information out to help expand the consciousness and to raise the frequency, of the energy of our own awarenesses and the planetary
Hmm.
awareness. So it's all part of all part of the journey. So when we talk about the journey now, let's go back to revisit your paranormal experiences and give us some highlights of some of the really exciting ones. You gave us the horse.
One of the most exciting ones was at the Sally House in Atchison, Kansas. We were doing an EVP session. We'd lit a candle
Oh,
and we had asked little Sally, who was obsessed with fire, um, to blow the candle out. Now, that's not an easy feat. I don't feel for a spirit to do.
mhm.
Well, we didn't hear anything with the naked ear. The candle flickered a little bit, but it didn't blow out. And I analyzed the audio later, and it clearly says it has. I'll do the breath sound in here. It just goes too hard. It's exactly what it sounds like.
Too hard.
Too hard. And I was
Wow.
mind blown by that. And
Yeah.
okay, now I get it. It's too hard to physically do that to so you're getting a delayed response. That was another one where you ask a question, you get a response. It's proving intelligence. One of the scariest incidents uh, was I was doing the 3-day experiment, the Ashmore experiment, with our local news team. The weatherman was there, cameraman. It was called Skeptics versus Believers. Well, we had a
Ooh.
team of skeptics and we had a team of believers. Excuse me. And we all went to Ashmore Estates in Illinois. Very active location. It's an old poorhouse, mental hospital, tuberculosis hospital, you name it.
Oh.
And it's very active location. So we bring the skeptics in there, and of course I'm the investigator there. So my job was to take the skeptics to their location where they were going to be stationed, give them their equipment, teach them how to use it, and let them go on their way and do their thing to see if they had any experiences. And the believers were okay. We're doing our investigation. We understand this and so forth. So we're just kind of doing our investigation in the area. Well, a call comes on the radio, real loud. Todd, hurry, get down here, down to the nurse's station. I'm like, my goodness. That's why I'm up there with the team, and I'm climbing down the ladder, run up there. What had happened was the local weatherman had saw something. He was knocked off his feet and hurt his shoulder.
Knocked off his feet by the
I
spirit, or
think it was by the excitement. I think
okay.
he saw, because he saw a nurse behind the nurse's station is what it was.
Okay.
And it set him off. And I think he stumbled back and may have stumbled, but he
Okay.
nearly broke his shoulder. He had to wear a sling forever, and he was doing the weather with his sling on, and it was.
Oh no.
That was, one of the scariest experiences, because that can happen to anyone, anytime, anywhere. Doing
Yes.
one of these investigations, you have to be very careful. So that
Mm-hmm.
was scary for the living that night.
Yeah.
As far as anything of the other side ever, scaring me, jolting me, yes, I've been jolted, I've been touched, I've been scratched.
Yes, me too. Yes.
They find a way.
Yeah,
They find a way to manifest and do it.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it. Sherry's had a few things on her that I can't explain either. A few scratches here and there.
Scratches.
too.
Yes.
And that happens a lot when I talk about certain incidences. So I try to, that house.
Yeah.
That house brings, it was a very
Brings
bad
that energy. Yeah.
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 It brings it back out.
I have known, and I myself have had experiences, but I have, others, close friends and all, that will do clearings on homes or, properties, and, or on a person, and they have, one has been thrown across the room. I mean, it's not something that you enter into lightly. You really should go with those that are experienced and, or have, taught you how to do what you're doing. And there's a way to do it, and there's a way not to. So it's to be very, and give respect, and, where it's due, and say this is a spirit. This is energy. This is consciousness. It's at whatever level it's at. It's usually a very low level, and it can harm you.
And
It
like
can be harmful.
I tell them, don't underestimate it. It
Yes.
can kick your ass.
Yeah.
It really can.
Yeah. Yeah, I explained it to some students of mine. I said, like the ocean, because I know growing up on an island, we always had respect for the ocean, and you know that it can turn at any time. And you're going to go in. You're going to go in because you feel strong and you can swim. You're not going to go in these really high waves when you don't have it. You cannot swim because you're going to get tossed and turned, and you might not come back out. So it's the same thing. I was wondering though, now that I just crossed my mind was what was called a table tipping. Have you ever heard of table tipping?
Table tipping.
Is that an EVP? No, that's not electronic. It's just a table, and you put your hands on the table, and there are other people. It's usually, a four sides to the square table. You put your hands on it, and then questions are asked, and the table tips in response.
I've never experienced it myself. I've
Ah,
never tried it.
I've experienced that. So when our hands were on the table, and what happened to me, the one woman, she put her hands on the table and my hands were on there, and immediately I got a vision of a concentration camp. And I saw the train, and I saw the bodies, and I saw a whole bunch of
Wow.
stuff. So I removed my hands naturally from the table, and then it stops. But it was
Whoa.
the energy, that was there. It was between her and I don't know. I don't know how to explain it in detail, but I just know that did happen. So I wondered if that can also happen doing the EVP. If you can also get, physical sensation or a vision at the same time.
That's
If
the
anybody
mystery.
has done that, like with Sally, blowing out the candle, you got too hard and you got the sound. But
Right.
you imagine if you at that same time got a vision of her trying to do it, you
And
know.
and and maybe if we were more open-minded during
Mhm.
that, because I
Mhm.
think, what we only use, 10% of our brain, we're barely scratching the surface,
Yeah. Yeah.
and, the subconscious mind can do a lot, and I think
Yeah.
during that, I don't know how it happens.
Plus, we know everything has purpose.
Sure.
So it's coming for a purpose when it comes. It doesn't come idly. It just is, there's no coincidence to it. It's coming for a specific purpose. It holds purpose.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything holds purpose. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Well, mm,
it's never ending. It really
it's
is.
not.
It's
Yeah.
just an open-ended question, and that's what
Yeah.
I love about it,
Yeah.
and I'll continue to love it.
So are you still active in the field, or did you fully retire? Because I thought you
Sherry and
retired,
I
but
will bounce out a little bit
okay.
here and there, but as far
Yeah.
as doing it
Yeah.
full time like I used to, I'm retired from it full time. That's all I used to do.
Right. Right. I get it.
So I retired from that
Yeah.
aspect of it to keep myself out of trouble and,
Yeah.
you know, to
Yes,
stay on
I
the
do.
right path.
Yeah.
But Sherry and I go out as often as we can
Ah.
to little cemeteries sometimes, to old
Mhm.
churches, to
Yeah.
places where we have permission to be, just
Yeah.
places that, are close to home. I
Uh-huh.
haven't traveled anywhere yet, and I want to, and I will. I'm working on it, getting
Yeah.
back out there a little bit, but I don't wanna get too far out there again. I wanna keep close to home, semi close to home.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. It'd be interesting to travel to some of the more widely known, sites that you can go to.
I've been to a lot of 'em.
Yeah.
I've been to Mansfield Reformatory. That was probably one of my fondest memories, was going there and doing some
Oh,
research. That place is amazing. The history is just, it's spectacular. And they made a movie there, Shawshank Redemption. I didn't know that.
yeah. Yeah.
So there's a lot that went in there, and it was neat seeing everything and the experiences. Like I said, they're personal.
Yes.
You may have something shared with you that, no one else sees or witnesses. Own it. It's
Own
yours,
it.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah. Be in gratitude for it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you for sharing
Oh, it's
all
my
of your
pleasure.
wonderful experiences.
Thank you for having me. It's been so much fun.
And your hero's journey book. I'm going to call it the hero's journey book. You're going to call it Haunted
Thank
Voices
you.
as its title, but I
Thank
call it the
you.
hero's journey. All right, Todd, now you've got your website up here, www.toddmichaelsbates.com, and the book is available on Amazon.
Amazon, Barnes and Noble.
Mhm.
You can get it on my website. You can get a signed copy there, toddmichaelbates.com.
And it's the Haunted Voice, right?
Yep.
Haunted Voice?
My show's on
Yes.
every Friday night, 10 p.m., Haunted Voices. And you can find that hauntedvoices.com, which takes you to WLTK-DB.com now. That domain's an old domain that's been traveling around, and it's got a keeper and everything under lock and key. It's real fun, that domain. It has a history in itself, Aumara. That's a show in itself, I'll tell you.
Yeah. So what does WLTK? How'd you come up with the letters? What is it? What is it?
The call letters, the W
Uh-huh.
is since we are east of the Mississippi, we have a W in front of the call letter. The
Oh.
LTK is short for Let's Talk.
Oh.
The -DB stands for digital broadcasting. You have to legally write it like that anytime it's written. It has to be written WLTK-DB.
Oh, okay.
So that's where that originated. And Sherry and I just wanted to stick with the station being a station. The internet doesn't have a frequency. So
Yeah.
it does now.
Yeah, it does. It does now. Now, before we sign off here, how many shows do we have? At last count, I had 33.
Yes.
33?
In full production.
33 stations broadcasting.
Yeah.
Amazing
shows.
Amazing talent and such gifted individuals. Yeah,
It's
all
mind-blowing.
together. Yeah. Anything from readings, you can get your psychic readings, to paranormal investigative reporting, to the Voice of Oneness, teachings, to exciting, such a variety. So that's where that calendar comes in. So go on and get the calendar, which gives a listing. And I like the way it comes up and gives me, I have it set on notifications, so I get notified.
The calendar's awesome. It lets me know 15 minutes before every show.
Yeah. So we don't miss anything. All right. Well, thank you, Jessica. Scissorhands, you've been amazing. She says, thank you for what you've become.
Thanks,
Without you, we
Jessica.
wouldn't have this show. And Facebook user, hello. And thank everyone for joining us tonight. And we're going to go ahead and sign off. Say good night and blessings to all. Bye.
The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTK-DB.com.